Busy? Pretty busy? Sure. We'd like to welcome you as a Planning and Zoning Commission. We'd like to welcome the public here today. We're grateful for the opportunity to meet with you. We're grateful that you took the time to be here. We're going to start this Planning Commission by just following the agenda. I've asked Member McMillan if he would offer a prayer. After that, we will have a Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we thank you that we can gather together today as a planning commission and as a community, and we ask you to have thy spirit to be with us, to help us to collaborate together and make decisions for the welfare of the community. We ask that we can all temper ourselves and act in good faith. We say these things humbly in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I would like to say something. We have a new member of the commission. I'd like to welcome. His name is Travis Taylor. We're glad to have him on here with us. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'm looking for an approval of the agenda. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Are there any declarations of conflict between anybody on the commission?
I don't know if it's conflict, but on this page, we will talk about this one together.
Anyone have a problem with that? All right. Members of the public, we are now going to go into the public comment portion of our meeting. If you signed up, you're welcome to come up. We'd ask you to make your comments a little bit brief. If you would address your concerns to anything outside of these public hearings, you'll have a chance to speak when that happens if you'd like to. But anything else that you'd like to discuss with us, you're more than welcome to come up and address whatever you'd like. Seeing none, we'll move on. Jeremy, you want to do number 6 for us?
Good evening, Mr. Vice Chair and members of the Planning Commission. Welcome to Member Taylor. Item number 6 on the agenda, Mr. Vice Chair, is the wall rezone. And just wanted to head off any discussion tonight. No action is needed. Staff has been talking with an applicant, gaining a clearer understanding of their request, and so the request that came out in the notice isn't reflecting kind of their intention, and so staff will renotice and identify a future planning commission meeting date and bring that forward again. Thank you.
Thank you. So do I need to do anything else?
No action needed, no motion.
Okay. We don't need a motion on it. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's
So
move.
item number 7, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, is the Whisper Ridge at Stone Canyon Development Agreement. The packet says the First Amendment. The applicant clarified recently that this is the Third Amendment to that development agreement. And the request for tonight, Mr. Vice Chair, is to amend the Whisper Ridge at Stone Canyon Development Agreement to remove the requirement for a professional property manager to maintain the common open space. As was submitted in your packet tonight, The language of the original development agreement constrains them to hire professional management. They wish to manage the property themselves, the HOA property, and so that does require an amendment and a legislative action. As far as a review, staff conducted a review that consists of the planning staff and the county attorney. Finds that this is a pretty simple amendment, very minor in scope, and has the following findings, Mr. Vice Chair, from the packet that I'll read tonight. Number one, that the proposal is not detrimental to the health, safety, and welfare of the public. Two, that removing the professional management requirement allows the community to self-manage common areas while reserves are built and maintenance needs are addressed. And three, that the amendment maintains the intent of the development agreement and does not alter approved land use standards, required improvements, or overall development density. The applicant is in the audience tonight, Mr. Chair. Mr. Vice Chair, thank you.
Thank you. So, this is a public hearing. I'm gonna turn to the commission. You guys want to hear from the
applicant?
Public hearing, or do you want the applicant?
Well, that's why I'm asking. Do you want to do him first, or do you want to do the public hearing first? Public hearing.
Then maybe you can address the concern.
All right. Okay. All right. We'd like to open this up for public hearing then. Any member of the audience who would like to come up and speak, again, for a short duration, just get your point across to us. We can't interact with you when you're talking. We'll take notes. We'll find out what your concerns are, and we'll try and address them later in the meeting. But we'd just like to hear what you have to say about this, if you'd like to comment on it.
I move to go into public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm not sure why I'm up here.
Could we get you to state your name at the beginning?
I'm Andy Andresen, Mountain Green. Well, we're all Mountain Green, I guess. The Stone Mountain development we've been here for 5 years, and the people that are supposed to be taking care of the gate, the entryway, and the pond and that have really been reluctant or non-performing. And I just want to say that I might be an old man, but I'm still good for something, and I'd be willing to help out in maintaining the beauty and integrity of the area. And we've contacted the people that are supposed to be in charge or be doing the maintenance on the area. They give us a good story on the phone, but they just don't perform. And I think that's not a very professional way to handle their business. And I'm sure that we can do a better job.
Hi, my name's Bob Woodcock. I'm a resident of Whisper Ridge. Have been a resident for about 14 years. We have been going through a horrendous problem with the property development people. It started out with Henry Walker, then it went to Oakwood Homes, and now it's gone to Greg North. All of these developers performed terribly. They didn't complete the obligations they had under the CCRs or the development agreement. I have spent many hours with many people trying to get the entranceway, trying to get the other common areas just completed and maintained. It's been awful. We now have the developer has now turned the HOA over to the homeowners. We have a group of very active, attentive, excited people that want to turn this development into a very nice common area that we can all, enjoy. We have hired some subcontractors that are doing a very good job with the landscaping. They'll do a better job with the snow plowing. I'm a real estate attorney by trade, and I frankly have never seen a development agreement where the county has been asked to approve the professional management of an HOA. So it came as quite a surprise when we were going through the materials that, we were going to amend these things, and now we have found that the county does have a contractual right to say yay or nay. I would simply encourage you to support this amendment. It'll help the homeowners and make Whisper Ridge a much nicer place to live.
Would anyone else like to address us?
Want a motion? Motion to exit public hearing. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, what would you guys like to?
What do we want to hear from the applicant?
That would be great. So I need a motion for that.
I don't think so. Okay.
We'd like to invite the applicant to come up then and address us.
I am Bert Sheffer from Whisper Ridge. First thing I want to say is go Pack Go. Packers hat in the back there. Sorry about that. Is there anything you guys want me to address or?
Well, can you give us kind of a vision of what you're looking
So I do appreciate some of our residents coming out and talking about how they're willing to help out. And so like Bob was saying, this development's been through some bankruptcies and recessions and 3 different developers, and none of them have really put the care and attention into the community. And we finally got Craig North to turn over the HOA, and immediately we jumped out and cleaned up a lot of the garbage and mess and debris that's been in our common spaces that have not been taken care of. In that turnover, we found out that there were like $50,000 worth of unpaid bills and $2,000 in our reserve, when the reserve study called for about $50,000. And that's an old reserve study, pre-Biden inflation. So we're probably not that good either. So it's probably gonna be worse when we redo that reserve study. So one of the big issues is we've had this management company for 14 plus years, and they take their cut every month. And we've been paying them for years, and they don't do anything. Like, it's just not up to snuff. Like, they're not doing what needs to be done. So as a measure to battle these bills, unpaid bills, and to build our reserves, we want to self-manage for a time, because I think it's like $4,000 or $5,000 a year for that management company, and I would love to put that $4,000 or $5,000 into reserves, or actually repairing things that have been needing repair for years. So as a community, we brought that to our HOA meeting this last year in May, and it was approved overwhelmingly. I think it was like 90% approval of all residents. Everyone voted. Everyone was participating. Everyone wants to be a part of this. We at that meeting, everyone came and we cleaned up and pitched in, and we've been doing our best to address these bills. So that extra $4,000 or $5,000 a year will help us get rid of those bills, build up the reserve, and then I would love nothing more than return to a management company that performs, so I don't have to do that. So that's the intent.
Thank you. Do any of the members of the commission have any questions? Thank you. So let's have a discussion amongst the planning commission. Does anyone have anything they'd like to discuss between us?
Appreciate their willingness to take ownership of the area they live in and pitch in and maintain it rather than just fall upon a management company that obviously wasn't performing in the manner which they wanted it to. So appreciate some ownership of the area around them.
I think this is the exact opposite of what the county intended when they inserted that language in there, was that the residents that actually live there and care about it would have their hands tied and not be able to do anything about it.
Do you have any concerns?
I feel like this one's pretty straightforward and simple.
Ma'am,
I move we recommend approval to the county commission for an amendment to the Whisper Ridge at Stone Canyon Development Agreement to remove the requirement for a professional property manager to maintain the common open space with the findings listed in the staff report based on the text listed in Exhibit C of the staff report dated January 8th, 2026.
I'll second.
so Debbie's proposal and Travis's second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Do I even vote? I don't vote for the chair. do I? Okay, sorry about that. Moving on. Item number 8. Staff.
Thank you. This is application number 23.072. The applicant has been working with staff and the county attorney for approximately 18 months to find a solution for owners that own a portion of Phase 9 who want to pull out of the Cottonwood development agreement and have their land reverted to 820. In that discussion with that applicant, the proposal is to pull out a portion of Phase 9 and then add in additional land from an adjacent property owner to the east on a 1-to-1. The new property owner, who would be part of the development agreement, would be putting in additional amenities, trails, etc. And it would affect phases 6 and 9, neither of which have developed yet. Instead of me going through and trying to talk about everything that they're doing or they're proposing, I'm going to turn it over to the applicant who has a presentation, and so hopefully that'll answer a lot of the questions that have arisen.
We'd like to invite them up to show us what they'd like.
Okay. My name's Heidi Nettleton. This is Ray Nettleton, and we're going to kind of do it together if that's okay. We have a slide deck to present. I'll try and get through it as succinctly and quickly as possible so we can get to the questions and concerns that you or the community might have. Thank you for your time today and for hearing us. So we represent the landowners to the east, Morgan County Cottonwoods LLC, which is my family's this land, which is currently not in the Cottonwoods. Phase 6 owners, Eric and Peggy Plyer of the Turkey Flats LLC, and Max Wilkinson. So they own Phase 6A and 6B. And then Phase 9 owners, which encompasses Ted Taylor of Mountain Green Investments and Mark and Sheila Wilkinson Family Trust. So, like Josh said, we've been working with the planning group and the county attorney to come to a comprehensive plan and combined plan for the properties. I think if some of you were here and remember, Matt Wilkinson started this and I think came before you once. I think it was back in December of last year or maybe January, so it's been a whole year. But since then, we've kind of gotten a more comprehensive plan. Thank you for doing that, Jeremy. Okay, so the proposed changes to the Cottonwoods Development PUD overlay zone and the development agreement, and the commitments would be codified in the revised ordinance and the amendment number 3 to the Cottonwoods Development Agreement. So this is just an overall, and we can go back and forth from these maps once you have questions, but this is just an overall of the area. The yellow, whoops, is it a touch screen? The yellow, we got a laser pointer, but that didn't seem to work in the work session. The yellow is the Cottonwoods development that's mostly been developed. Now, we don't represent Phase 8, I want to make that clear. You'll see a dotted line. You can kind of show that dotted line. That dotted line is the existing boundary line of the Cottonwoods area. So what we're proposing is the red hatched area is the area that the Wilkinson Family Trust wants to remove, and the green area is the area that MCC, my family, would replace. So as Josh says, it's a 1-to-1. And we have legal descriptions of both of these, and they are the same acreage. Okay. So we kind of have to go back and do just a really little brief history on the Cottonwoods. So Gardner Development was the original developer and proposed the development agreement and concept plans back for the entire area, which was 1,036 acres back in 2006. That included the Cottonwoods PUD zone ordinance and the DA, the development agreement. So phases 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 parcels were under purchase options, but expired in 2011. Phases 6, 8, and 9 areas were sold to others, and this kind of created the complication that we'll come today for. So the Wilkinson Family Trust, part of Phase 9, that red hatched area, wished to have their land removed from the Cottonwoods DA zone. And Matt can come up in a bit and talk about that if you'd like to hear from him. The property to the east was originally contemplated to be put into the Cottonwood zones, but we decided not to do that. And 20 plus years have passed, and the landowners are requesting some minor changes to the 2005 plan. So these are just the existing concept plans that are in the zone. They are concept plans, loose concept plans, and it shows open space areas too. We can come back to that if you want to. No, let's go move forward. So our proposed concept plan, this kind of shows everything. We'll go through this, but it shows the area to be removed, the area to be added, the phases. So you can see Phase 6 is up there, Phase 9 is down here, and then the yellow and the colors are the trails system that we're proposing. So the key changes are basically 2 key changes. Well, so one is the boundary line adjustment to the Cottonwood overlay zone. So that's what we call the land swap. So that's one. And then 2 is minor changes to the Cottonwoods at Mountain Green development agreement. So within those changes are amenity commitments, omitting the equestrian center in Phase 6, adding the flexibility to put some mansion homes in Phase 6, which are referenced in the DA, and the flexibility to allow some single-family lots greater than 8,000 square feet. So the boundary line adjustment areas. are, like we said, it's 193 acres to be removed, 193 acres to be added. Total acreage stays the same. Yeah, I'll just go to the next one. So that's the legal description. So the owners do not want to be part of the Cottonwoods. The area to be removed would revert back to the underlying zone, which is the A20 zone. And then the vast majority of this area isn't even visible from the Cottonwoods or Mountain Green. No trails were proposed in the original DA, and it's generally steep topography. We have a couple pictures on the next slide. So this is looking east and north from Old Mountain Highway, and basically if you show that ridge area. But the ridge line area you couldn't see down. This is taken, like I said, from Old Mountain Highway. Okay. The 193 acres to be added is more than 163 acres to be preserved as native open space. We would add 1.5 miles approximately of trails to that area for use of all residents of the Cottonwoods. We feel like is superior view shed that's protected. So at the southern end there, 23 acres on the south end is already in the future land use map as RR1 as kind of pre-entitlements. So we hadn't got to the rezone. We're considering this part of that. But we already had the pre-entitlements in the future land use. Per the existing zone, which is MU 160, one lot is possible on the remaining 170 acres of the 193 added. And so the net 24 pre-entitlements already exist on that. So we'll comply with the view shed, and the homes, I guess most importantly, the homes can be clustered, further protecting that view shed. So this is looking east and southeast from phase 8. It's hard from reference points, but this is our land showing along that east ridgeline boundary line. The amenity commitments, so these are in phases both 6 and 9. One, no park was originally required for phase 6, but we will commit to providing a top park and pickleball court for the residents of phase 6. Phase 9 will install a 1-acre pocket park originally required in the area. In addition, phase 9 may add a pickleball court or pool club amenity for phase 9. We'll add over 2 miles of trails over and above the current plan for phase 6 and 9, and all trails will be open to all residents of the Cottonwood.
I have one question. You keep talking phase 9. Can you differentiate when you mean phase 9?
Okay, so phase 9, do we want to go, so when I'm considering, do you want to go back to the concept plan?
Nope. So you have the phase 9 that's being removed. You have
So
the phase 9 that
phase
belongs
9 's
to
almost
Mr.
like a
Taylor,
replace.
And you're going to have your phase 9.
So we're considering phase 9 is multiple owners. So phase 9 currently includes the Mark and Sheila Wilkinson Family Trust and Ted Taylor, who's here today. But when we do the land swap along the ridge, we consider that still part of phase 9.
So,
Does that make sense? Am I
that's where
answering?
the amenities are going. I mean, you just say phase 9 and then
Oh, okay. We can go back on the map and show you. Let's
get to that.
and we can dial into stuff. Yeah. Okay, you can go to the next one. Okay, so omitting the equestrian center in phase 6. So in the original DA concept, this is a requirement, and we want to remove that development requirement. So there is already an existing equestrian center located in Mountain Green. The original, or the owner sent a letter to the previous planner that he didn't care to have another one. We have some concerns with additional road traffic, And the current requirement actually is no longer possible. If we can dial into this area right here. So this is, oh, go ahead.
All right, how about, I'll let my better. This blue line is the original development agreement. And when the developer did the Northside Ski Lakes, this portion right, now I did it again, sorry. This portion was incorrectly removed from the Cottonwood Development Agreement and added to the Northside Creek. So this little piece right here is this is where all the barns and the corrals and everything was supposed to go. That's physically impossible. So the county put us in a position, not the county, maybe the developer put us in a position that we had to install this, but the land was removed. So this will help correct that.
So we'd like the option to put mansion homes in phase 6. These were included in the original PUD overlay zone, and they're called mansion homes in the development agreement in the PUD. And we'd like the option to add, proposing a maximum of 25. So they're townhouses that are designed to look like one single home with garages in the rear. With the open space and setbacks provided in this area, it has less density than a typical townhouse development. Now, obviously, these are all concept plans. We have to come forth each phase, or would have to come forth with a plat to comply with all the requirements.
Yeah, the pickleball court and Tot Park is envisioned to kind of go in between here on these, and then this isn't shown very well, but they will be rear loaded. It'll be very classy with the driveway going to the back.
So the density and the open space. So essentially, our plan, we've worked with the county planning department about this. We have an overall average. So the overall average density was 0.85 dwelling units per acre. Our proposed density for phase 6 and phase 9 is 0.58. The development agreement required 40% open space, and as the owners of phase 6 and 9, we are committing to greater than 58%, excluding all the lot areas and roads. As defined in the revised ordinance, the open space commitments will be preserved as agricultural open space, native open space, or community open space. We want to make sure, we have a bunch of supplemental sites, but we want to make sure that we can either ask or apply to join the existing HOA or create our own. So there's no commitments right now for them. And this is just an exhibit showing the breakdown of the zoning or of the densities.
So I'll take over here, ready? So phase 6A, here's the phases, the different property owners, the serial numbers, and then the acres. So if you take the 0.85 times their acres, you get these lots. So if we were to go with the original densities allowed by the greater zone, we would have 369 entitlements. We're only asking for 253. So this is the absolute cap codified from that area. So no one, once approved, no one will be able to go in and say, oh, let's do one more, or let's do 5 more. So that is the cap. Just, we will note that the owners that are coming together, these 4 parcel owners, we do have the ability to trade and move those 253 round a little bit, but a maximum of 10%. So the numbers might change in an area, but the total will never change.
And this is obviously, when we do the plats, it's physical constraints, landslide areas, and that kind of thing. So it could possibly be less, but that's the maximum. We'd like to allow for single-family lots greater than 8,000 square feet. The revised ordinance would show that the proposed concept plan does not show any lots less than 10,000 square feet. This gives us the flexibility to mix in some smaller lots that would require less water, easier to xeriscape, and would only increase the open space and decrease density from the current council plan. So normally when you're saying you want a smaller lot, you think, oh, it's more density, but we're already capping our density. So this just gives us a little flexibility of some of your regular lot sizes. So closing thoughts before we, you have questions. So the presentation commitments pertain to phase 6, phase 9, and new phase 9. So it's less than the current average density. Additional open space and view shed protection commitments. It adds more trails, 2 times the original plan, to be used by all Cottonwood Zone residents. Prevents any subsequent development of open space. And like I said, each subdivision would go through the future review recommendations by planning for each plat. And no changes to the dark sky lighting requirements or regional protection or anything like that. Okay. I would like to go back to that map. Let's go back a couple maps. And then if you would like to have Matt Wilkinson give comments, you can do that right now. Did you want to do it?
The original developer purchased 1 through 5 phases, but he defaulted on the completed purchase, which put the county in a compromised position, put us in a compromised position. Now we have to try to resell those. The land that we're asking to have removed when we came back 18 months ago was never purchased by the original developer, but he's been leveraging it for 15 years or whatever. When I came originally, I only wanted to have my land taken out, or excuse me, my parents' land taken out. That's all we were looking for. As I was talking with Josh, he says this actually does 2 things. It still secures the open space, and it's actually utilizing open space. The open space the Nettletons are providing actually have the trails that were originally promised to the Cottonwood residents that they've never had access to because the developer didn't build those trails and he didn't buy it, but it was promised. This actually provides it provides the residents, it actually solves a lot of problems. It looks kind of complicated, but it solves a lot of problems for the county, for us, the Nettletons, and most importantly for the Cottonwoods residents that originally were promised something.
So we did have a work session back in mid-November, early November with the county council, just to kind of head off any issues that they might see or have. They seemed amenable and didn't really have any notes. But I think I'm confident in saying we've been working on this for over a year, going back and forth. Should we do this part first and then keep coming back to you? But the consensus and the advice was that we should try and look at this more comprehensively. And it's fortunate that we've come together as some of the remaining, minus phase 8, but the different owners. And we've had several meetings on this, working to get development and infrastructure that we need to move forward with that kind of development. Do you have any questions for me right now, or do you?
Heidi, can you go back? You had the little chart that showed the number of units.
The Excel.
Proposing, like the 253, that one?
Mm-hmm. That one?
Okay. So you're the Morgan County Cottonwoods LLC. That's your phase.
That's my family. Mm-hmm.
Okay, 193 acres with 165 units.
No, that would be the maximum.
So that's-
if you take that 0.85 and times 193, that would be that number. We're asking for way less.
Phase.
What's that?
Okay, I'm confused. Is the 193, is this not the open space?
That is the area being brought into the Cottonwoods Development
Open
Agreement.
space.
So the.
No, it's both open space and our 35 lot entitlements combined,
Or you said, yeah.
just on those parcel numbers. So there's more details and tables and stuff in the ordinance and whatnot, but we're based, of this 193, I think we're committing to 170 acres of open space. And so the 23 acres, and we're probably going to do less, or it'll be more open space than that, but we're committing and codifying whatever's in that table. There's a table attached. We couldn't attach everything. There's a table attached to the ordinance.
Is that 165 number?
That's 165 is the lot count. If
165 is what is currently the dwelling units per acre under the current zone is 165, but we're only reserving
35.
35. So what we're saying is we could get 165
Just by the pure average.
for your average. I mean,
The current zone's MU 160.
Correct. To the proposed.
to the proposed land swap.
So this would then be within the Cottonwoods.
Right, no, I understand
And so
that,
it would, yeah, it wouldn't still be.
So if the swap was done, the entitlements then would be 165, but your planning would be 35.
No,
Exact-
we're only asking for the 35 in
Is that
the
Yeah.
overall density.
because currently it's MU 160? After
Currently
the
it's-
land swap, though, you take those
It's
entitlements.
MU 160, but it's also in the future land use map.
Also, we
as
have that, we have 24 in the pre-entitlements.
not the whole 193.
The 165 is an illustrative number. Overall density is like 0.85 right now. They're showing that they're proposing a 0.58.
Which would be lower density than what the
Right. And
the
so
original
it's just
development
an
agreement
illustrative
is.
number saying 0.58.
Would be possible at this, but
Yeah.
our intent is to go less.
Yeah, it's just illustrative. So
And actually, Josh, to clarify, the 0.85, it's actually
it's a
more
little higher.
density. Yeah,
Or
they
you're
they
doing
went
just the opposite.
they went conservative on the average. So
But of the 193 acres that they're bringing in, 170 is reserved as open space.
Yeah, they're asking for 35 dwelling units in there.
170 open space, and how much is leaving in the bottom half, the south portion?
There's
of
actually a
phase
table in the, I don't know if you want to pull that up.
It's a little complicated because phase 9 has multiple owners.
and I don't think I don't know if you're going at phase 9 has to have the exact same amount of open space as the original phase 9 because there's a certain amount of open space that has to go throughout the whole Cottonwoods development. And so I don't think you could do a phase 9 original and new phase 9 complete exact swap.
Yeah, and the developer over the years did not put in the major amenities, the equestrian center and the golf course. The golf course in the development agreement language was squirrely. It said may. So after 20 plus years, it's not going to go in. They don't even own the land. So even if they wanted to, I don't think the owner would be willing to sell it. So there's not going to be a golf course there. There's no trails. So the proposal here is to actually bring meaningful amenities to a development to offset the amenities that were promised but not provided. And if you look at the phases that were developed, it looks like they front-loaded the density into those phases while not developing the phases that had the major amenities in it. I don't know why they did that. I'm not going to comment on that, but that's what it looks like to me from when I look at those maps and the amount of lots that have been put in already. And the remaining lots based on the 877 that are left over to fill out the remaining 3 phases. So staff has been working with them to try to solve this kind of conundrum. On top of that, there's development issues with phases 6 and 8. I'm not sure about phase 9, but phase 6 and 8, their elevations are too high, so the current water tower that they have won't provide the sufficient water pressure to serve them anyway. And so the one person I know of in the past couple of years that has been working to bring a water tank and a reservoir to that area to help provide the water for that is Mr. Nettleton.
The percent open space needs to maintain, as called out in the development agreement, and the PDU overlay.
That's not technically correct because they are amending the development agreement and they are amending the PRUD ordinance that's attached to our code, and as such, that can be amended as well. And if they're bringing additional amenities that would never have come to the Cottonwoods development because the phases are not owned by Mr. Gardner, they're owned by other parties, and they're bringing additional things like a potential water tank and reservoir to help serve the community, then those typically can offset additional density.
But I haven't seen the changes of the calculations for the density as far as the open space, percent open space. I don't see that as a change in any of the documents.
Well, they required 40%, and collectively we're providing 60% within our area. We can't control anything that happened in
No, I understand.
phases 1 through 5 or 7.
And I thought you had a slide on that showed how much open space.
Yeah,
Didn't you just have that? Like,
this,
it's close to what, 58%?
yeah, it was 60%, or
Yeah.
59 point something percent. Yeah, there's different types of open space. So in phase 6, there's 4.6 that will remain agricultural open space. Phase 9A, which is kind of the lower part, there'll be 38 acres of agricultural. And in phase 9B, which is the very upper part of phase 9, same thing with the native open space. 26 acres in phase 6, 20 acres in phase 9A, and it's 163. So that 170 I said is we're providing 6.5 in agricultural open space, and 163 is in native open space. So there's the 170.
And then the park, so the total is the 260, and then that's how we got the percentage of the 58% open space.
So
And then we have the other table showing the trails and how we came to the conclusion that
yeah, and then by phase, this is how many lineal feet of each type of trails. That might change a little bit, but we're guaranteeing 4.7 miles of trails. And I've got a slide somewhere in here. I don't think we need to go to it, but we're more than doubling the amount of public trails per the original.
Can we go back to
for that area?
one of the earlier slides that shows kind of everything on there? I think it's in the beginning. Yeah. And it'll show that this trail and kind of orient yourself a little better. Yeah, that one. So, again, this is the space that's being removed. The red hatched area. Okay. Yeah, that red hatched area is being removed, and that's the part, if you're familiar with the area, that's the area that we showed the photos of.
It really drops off right here. You see it's flat here, and then this is really high contour.
Yeah. So the green area is what we're adding, and we're proposing a trail from there to there, basically all along that ridge line. Basically, not a paved trail, but just a nature trail. We may have to do a water line there anyway, and we could do kind of in conjunction there. So that's where we get the biggest trail thing. And then the other.
And Josh mentioned we've planned a water tower here and a reservoir here, potentially another reservoir here.
Can you go to?
But two of those have been through the conditional use permit process and have been approved.
Can you go to the next map? I think there's a better one that shows some of the trails. Well, that's what, go to the next, go to that slide you were just on, I guess. Sorry, Jeremy. So, I mean, you can see the trail, and if you guys know where the Cobble Creek Reservoir is right there, and you know that view, I should have, I didn't go up there hiking, I was gonna say take some pictures out that way. But that's really, I mean, I would love to walk that like every evening or every morning. But that would be the trail all along the ridge line there, and looking out towards the mountains and the view that way. I mean, that to me is a far better amenity than anything you're gonna get from
Of our
the
30,
lower base.
35 lots, almost all of them are right here, very concentrated in this one area. There's just a couple home sites here and like two there. But by and large, this is all a good view, natural.
Well, out towards.
Yeah,
to the-
these
to the
guys will have a nice
west.
view and everybody. So.
Can you go over the amenities that you are proposing again?
Do we have that on the
The slide kind of went through kind of fast.
Yeah, go, keep going and we'll see where that is.
Yeah.
So the main amenity is the big trail, but in phase 6, which is at the north end, we would provide a tot park and a pickleball court. No park was originally required in phase 6 before. Phase 9 will install the 1 acre pocket park. I think in the current development agreement it says May, so we're committing to yes, we will.
And that's gonna be the lower phase 9 or the upper?
That's phase 9A, the kind of lower part, yeah.
And then in addition, phase 9 may add a pickleball court or a pool kind of clubhouse amenity for phase 9. I know that the current owner is interested in that. We put May because I'm not sure that would be all part of plating each phase, and we haven't got to that specification yet, of course.
Where are these amenities codified at?
It's in there.
You mean the existing ones or the ones we're proposing?
You're proposing one?
They're in the amendment to the development agreement.
Do those have triggers on them? I mean, obviously, like,
As far as time.
yeah, the other ones, they front loaded all their lots and rear loaded all their amenities. Do you have proposed
Well,
triggers?
so that's a good question. I think, we're just trying to go kind of one step at a time as far as development. But as far as triggers,
It doesn't have to be specific, but
Yeah, I mean-
are you open to those? Is that part of your plan? At when 25% of the lots go in, you're gonna have X% of the trails or something like that?
Honestly, it's not that specific in there, but I think naturally the tot park and the pickleball park as part of phase 6 will be done with the townhomes there, 6A. And same thing with,
I guess short answer is no, we didn't put time provision in there, but they would be codified in there, so if somebody did develop, they would have to put that as part of the plat review and the requirements for getting each phase done.
I think that's the key, it's part of the plat review that they'll be installed.
Yeah, you say naturally, but I think this is what happens naturally without that. So,
Well, I think the key difference is these landowners are signing this development agreement and committing to the amenities on their parcels, and that's the difference.
This is for staff. Jeremy, the link is bad for well, I'm asking my questions for the development agreement, the third amendment. It doesn't go to it.
I think we are the third amendment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
but
link
I'm
was
gonna say
broken.
Oh, the link was-
does not
oh.
go there. While I'm having my questions.
Yeah,
The
that's it.
pages in our packet, that first page, and when you click on the link for the full size.
That is it, yeah.
for me to make a decision when I. Question, I wrote Janet an email. I got a lot of emails
today.
I know you did, I know you did.
I emailed you back.
I know you did. I didn't expect that. Thank you. Mine was on the total, okay, the 877, but the development agreement, the maximum said 830.
Okay, so yes. So without the golf course, the maximum numbers per the original development agreement for the entire project was 830.
Well, no, 868 with the golf course,
Yes,
but then it was 830 without the
without the golf course, correct.
So, but we're starting with this 877. Should we not be using the 830 since that's the original development agreement?
Well, so I think we could pick 1,200. I mean, because here we're at the point where we can amend it. Honestly, to me, that looks like the original development agreement. It was something that was bargained for with the golf course, with the equestrian center. And so that's what they came up with that. We're at a whole new animal here. And so I don't think we are bound when we're amending the development agreement to a specific number in the original.
See, I can't see the amendment, so I don't know.
Can we get a copy sent to you somehow, or?
It's not terribly long. Do you want to roll through it?
Maybe this will help. Do you guys have a maximum number for the entire development, or do you address it just for phase 6 and 9, the maximum?
We could really only address our land, so all we can do is promise that we're going to be way under the density of the average area in the development agreement.
Which would probably run afoul to the prior phases that are limited to the 830. What do you think, Josh?
I know the number of developed and entitled lots is somewhere between 450 and 540. We were trying to track down that number today. If it is 540, then that, since they are bringing additional amenities and they're transferring amenities, then I would say the 877 should still apply, which would give them 337, something like that, which is under the amount that they're asking for. So in my calculations, worst case, I think they're at 540, but I heard that it's like 450, 470 of entitled lots. So it even drops even further. So I don't think what they're proposing would take it above the total allowed number of units at 877. If it does, you are entitled to amend the development agreement if you think that the amenities that they're proposing would qualify the additional lots.
So since I don't have figures, phase 6, you're proposing 67 lots? I mean, or that's kind of what,
Jeremy, do you want to bring up that supplemental, that spreadsheet I put forward? So what we did here is, here's the original phase callouts. This is the counts from 2005 that came up to 852. These are kind of the actual phase numbers. There's all sorts of, phase 5A through 5A, whatever. There's a whole bunch of different sub-phases. But these items here are what was actually recorded. I went through and counted everything in Rose Hill, everything in Cottonwood Hills, etc. So these white ones are actuals. This 24 here is, I understand Mr. Gardner went through and he's currently proposing or building 24. So townhomes in phase 5, but otherwise I think they're done, basically done. Durst Mountain. So the ones in bold, the yellow bold, that is people in our group who we represent. That we don't represent is phase 8. So my understanding is they don't want to put in the second road, so they're going to be 30 or less. So I plugged in 30 right there, and then again, we're committing, we got the 111 and the 20. We got 4. So technically, there's a sliver of Mr. Hayward's property in phase 9. So we went ahead and plugged in 4 there. So we're at 856 out of the 877. If you were to plug in 55, which was shown on the original concept plan for phase 8, you can go and pop that in right now, but we'll be slightly over. But to the best of our knowledge, they're not going to put 55 homes in phase 8. And even if they did, again, I would encourage you, we have 24 pre-entitlements with the FLUMA and zone, so you could technically get to that 901 and we'd be way under that.
The other thing I would add is that the development agreement specifically states that they can allocate the density to whatever phase that they want those densities to go to. It's not allocated preliminarily to individual phases. There's nothing in the development agreement that does that. So they can allocate the density how they will, which is further complicated because of the multiple owners, right? And so it just kind of complicates things.
I just want to make sure phase 8 owner is protected.
I think they are. I think
Their
because we'd be
density that- I don't
even
want
if you
taking
plugged
some of
in,
their density.
yeah, if you plugged in their maximum 55, you'd still be below that, well below 901.
I think this is where kind of the crux of the difficultness that we have with this, because we can only speak towards land that we own. We did approach phase 8 to work with us, and that's fine. But that's why we had to go on like an overall basis on units per acre for our land. And what we're proposing is under that significantly.
D and 9B, which is yours, the upper, you say 20 lots, but then I heard 35.
Yeah, if you take 9B, Ted Taylor has some of he wants to have some larger family lots up in phase 7B. I think you have 7, and we have, I don't know, I think it was 11. Yeah, that gets us to the 20. And phase 9B is a private road, private community, privately maintained. And phase 9A is the kind of the more traditional, I don't know, like phase 7 or something like that.
I'd kind of like to hear public comment.
Or can we go there? Are you done questioning?
Can we bring them back up afterwards if we want?
Yeah, I think so.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Can you go into public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'd like to invite the public to come up and share their thoughts with us if they'd be willing. Anyone would like to speak?
My name's Neil Jakes. I live in phase 7. First moved here about 6 years ago temporarily. Fell in love with the place and then built a home and live here permanent now. This is super complicated. I don't envy you guys. And, you know, been working on it 18 months. We've had, what, 20 minutes or so? That's my biggest comment. I don't know how things are done here, but it would have been nice to have more information leading up to this meeting to know what we're looking at. It's really hard to look at these screens from back here. It sounds good, but I don't know. And that's the issue. But we sure would like to have more information about this. That's all. Thank you.
Hugh Horstman, I live in phase 2 of the Cottonwoods, been there for 17 years. It appears that phase 6 and phase 9 amenities are only for residents of phase 6 and phase 9, according to the slides. Is that true? So those are essentially more private that don't belong to the entire HOA. Does the HOA get any or MOA actually say in the matter of discussion, comments? Is that part of the plan? We requested, but they do get a say.
Evening, Bill Coots with Cottonwoods. I was the president of the Master Owners Association. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but all of the HOAs within the Cottonwoods, they provide a representative that goes up to the higher level of the Master Owners Association. We were approached about having phase 6, 9, and 8 folks join our MOA. And quite frankly, I'll be honest with you, we did not want them to join. And the primary reason was because we didn't see what advantage it was for them to be a part of the Cottonwoods MOA. Because of what Hugh Horstman said, which is there's really no benefit for us. They're going to use our roads, our access and all that, but we don't get to use their park. We don't get to use their amenities other than a trail that will be going along, along the ridge that was pointed out. So on behalf of the MOA, I would like to say that, hey, we would like to have access to the park and to whatever amenities they have up in 9, 6, and 8, just like they have access to our amenities down in the Cottonwoods now, the amenities that we have, to include parks and all those kinds of things. The other thing is we're changing phase 9 from a open space, as you have well talked about. It's changing from an open space now to perhaps having homes on it. That's going to change the look of the Cottonwoods from Old Highway, looking up. You're going to go from open space now to having houses. And I think that, again, is why Mr. Horstman wanted maybe the Cottonwoods MOA and the homeowners of the Cottonwoods to at least have an idea of what's going on here. And if you're going to rezone that open space, it might be good to get their opinion on that. Thank you very much.
I am the current president of the MOA, the Masters Association, and we just have a few concerns. So I just wanted to publicly state that we would really like a voice at the table for this. We would love to go through the development agreement and make sure things are being followed. We would just love to give our opinion and hopefully welcome the new phases as we work together. The questions I have, is there a geohazard study that's done for the land that they're supposed to trade for the ones that we have now? I don't think that has been done, so that is critical, that we know if it's safe to build on. What are we trading in that? The master plan also, they should be submitting a proposal to us as well that the MOA votes on and decides. So that's a huge thing too that they have not done. Yeah, we want to enjoy the pickleball courts. As current residents, we don't see a good value for what will be added because we're not included. My biggest question is why has the MOA been excluded from the discussions, especially as property owners, we're shareholders in that open space. And we do have a right to know what's going on. Thank you. Oh, I didn't state my name. Jennifer Lance, current president of the MOA. Thank you.
Good evening, Kevin Kurtz. I live in Phase 4. I'm presently the HOA president for that phase in Cottonwoods. This has been inferred from the previous speakers, but this has all been rather short notice on the documents and descriptions of the changes being requested. We just respectfully request additional time before any formal decision is made so that we have a chance to review it, really understand it, and have our comments, our public comments heard in front of the council. Thank you.
Anyone else would like an opportunity?
My name's Heidi Dorius, and I may be mistaken here, but my parents are Mark and Sheila Wilkinson of the Trust, and they are the owners of Phase 9, the open space that was never purchased. And so, as much as I really appreciate the shareholders that have now, and the homeowners that have moved into the Cottonwoods concerns, they aren't actually shareholders in someone else's property. And they're not shareholders in the development agreement with the county. And so I do appreciate their concerns of how things may look, but they actually don't have a say. And as they even admitted that they were approached, they weren't interested. So these guys moved on. How many times did the Nettletons need to approach them to say, are you interested now? Now, if we do this, are you interested now? That's my opinion, is that I really appreciate that now they're interested, but they've already done their homework. They've been working on it for a year. They've worked with the Planning Commission. They have provided way more benefits than the original DA. The amenities, and again, I really appreciate Josh saying, they're bringing a water tank, reservoirs, water system to the development that needs it. That's not part of it at this time. There is no one else that's providing that. So what they're providing and proposing is by far the greater commitment than a view or using a park, which they can address if the other other phases will allow other people to come play. But I really want the Planning Commission to look at the way bigger picture. It benefits the community on a whole besides just views. That's all.
Last chance. Yeah. Take a proposal to go out. Or do you want to hear from someone else?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll try to address the questions. Currently, the existing development agreement requires the MOA to record something for each phase.
It's actually the developer has to record the MOA for each phase, binding that phase. And I think if you look at the master HOA documents, it delineates what phase applies, what property is actually managed by the MOA versus the neighborhood HOAs. And so these two parcels or these two phases are not a part of it. And if there's issues with the amenities in other phases and what people have access to, I think it goes back to the original developer and what he promised the entire development and didn't follow through with.
Thank you. So the geohazard is not required at time of development agreement. It's required at time of platting. Further, The development agreement currently states that the actual layout of each of the phases isn't decided until the plat. And so the conceptual drawing is really just that, it's conceptual in nature. Given the geology, given the infrastructure, and other considerations, it typically reduces the number of lots that can be developed. Conceptual is typically a vision trying to capture and get the development that as many as they can, but realistically, once they start developing, that number starts to go down. The shareholders, unfortunately, CC&Rs, the county doesn't enforce CC&Rs. We don't care about CC&Rs. We don't write CC&Rs. We review them to make sure they meet state statute, and they are recorded and adopted. And then they are enforced by private parties. We don't do that. So the MOA and the HOAs, they are not shareholders in these unpurchased lots, undeveloped lots. There have been no plats. There's been no geohazard studies. There's been nothing recorded on those parcels. So at this time, they really don't have any say in what happens on those parcels. The owners are bringing something forward before the Planning Commission, the County Commission. The packet and the agenda have been available for nearly a week. They went out last Friday, and the information and the data has been available. So, I think that addressed most of them. One of them I can't read the writing.
Are you, what are you required to, how are you required to notice this to meet state code?
So to meet state code, we post the agenda on the state website. The state requires it 24 hours in advance. We post it at the exact same time that we post the agenda and the packet. The agenda and the packet are posted the Friday or the Thursday before the meeting. So there's a full weekend and several days during the week that these items can be found. Those packets are digital, or you can call my office and we can email you whatever you need. The other thing is when we post it to the state website, the packet's posted as well. So if you get notification from the state, you're going to get the packet. And if there's issues with the packet, then we can help fix that, broken links or whatnot. Property owners are noticed 10 days in advance minimum. Typically, we try to shoot for 2 weeks.
What property owners?
We notice everybody within 1,000 feet. This development, we went over and above what we needed to do. We noticed everybody within the cottonwoods and everybody within 1,000 feet of the cottonwoods. It was a lot of envelopes, right? Yeah, probably one of the biggest notifications we've sent out since I've been here.
Are those public roads in the Cottonwoods now?
The Cottonwoods have modified street standards. Some of them are private, some of them are public. And the development agreement has those road elevations built into it. Let me turn it over to.
That's all I have.
Yeah, thank you. So I kept a list here too. So the bill, we did come to you, you acknowledged that, and you guys reject us or probably didn't have enough information to truly analyze what we were proposing at the time. A lot has changed, and we appreciate that. What we've said in the ordinance and the development agreement is we will approach you guys, work constructively to integrate us in there. If you guys vote yay, we're in, we pay our percentage of the keep of the trails. If you vote no, we have the right to go on our own. But you have my commitment that we will come to you and we'll try and work constructively to make things work. Well, I appreciate that. One of the things we thought about that, we thought about making them open to other people, the pickleball park in phase 6. I mean, if everyone's trying to use that, they're trying to park there, we want to avoid people driving and parking in front of other people's property to use the pickleball court. I hope you can understand that. You've got equal top parks. I mean, no one's going to really police it, but you know, it is for the neighbors, and we are committing to maintain it unless we come to a different agreement. If you guys are going to participate in the maintenance of our tot park or the pocket park on Ted's property, we would be open to that in discussion. But we don't want people driving from one park to the other when they've got one right next to their neighborhood. Open space going to homes. I don't think that's quite true because phase 9 had 107 homes and phase 9A is only going to have, I think it's 90, I don't know, but it's not much different. So that area that is developed was always in the plan to be developed, so that one's not quite accurate. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, it's in the code. We will approach you. We will work constructively to blend in, and if you vote yay, we're all happy. If not, it's going to look very similar to maybe phase 7 or something. Nice homes, good upkeep. That's all going to be in there. I think that's all on the list.
We need to go to public hearing.
We're out of public hearing. Yeah.
So I'd open it up amongst the commission. Discuss what they are concerned with.
The front side of phase 9, the part that's being removed, the red hatched area, 193 acres, reverts to an A20, 9 houses. 9 houses on 193 acres. Is that correct? A maximum of?
You have any?
No, I think they answered most questions and can understand the intent. And like I said, this was all a part of the same development agreement. That portion of property was in development agreement to begin with, even though ownership was not part of what the developer who developed those previous pieces. So once again, it was all in development agreement, all falling into the same standards. For myself, the land swap doesn't concern me, and into a point, understanding that they're going to be utilizing an area adjacent to what's already been developed, seems to continue on the same subdivision style. So no concerns on my end, lesser density than what was originally proposed. Piece going back into an A20, part of that open space going into a agricultural type open space to me makes sense.
No, the question I had was regarding some of the slopes, but I think that'll be answered later on, so.
Do you have anything else?
My concern is not being able to see the development agreement. It would have been nice if the information was in our packet as far as amenities and densities.
So it was my understanding that we've sent this slide deck that was part of all the information we sent to them. So it was my understanding that we actually have that.
We don't have access to the No, it's just that the numbers are bouncing all over the place.
I completely understand. We spent like an hour and a half. Well, we spent like the full hour with the work session, just going through everything because it's a ton of information. It's a lot of swapping stuff. We took us, a year to wrap our heads around it and get it to, where we are today, trying to present it. So I totally understand that.
I'm not against it, but I just don't have enough of the information. It's just.
Okay, can we get you the information? And by we, I mean planning, your planning department?
If we can get it.
There's a lot of overlap. Sorry, I believe the link to the ordinance change was included and not
The
broken.
ordinance was, but not the development.
And it's very, very similar. I would guess you'd have to take that on trust, but most of all the open space commitments and the trails commitments are in that ordinance. Yeah, I know they are for a fact. They are. Yeah, there's a ton of overlap, and they. Yeah, it should have been done at the same time somehow. I don't know how that works.
Well, we went back and forth with the attorney and planner on how best to do this. Amending just the DA, just doing the boundary line adjustment. This is these two items. Most appropriate.
I do have a question, Janice, that Josh maybe answer. In the original development agreement, it says, to the extent there are inconsistencies between the Cottonwoods concept plan, this agreement, and the overlay report, this agreement and the overlay report shall govern. So shouldn't the overlay report also be amended to reflect these changes?
So the overlay report, while it's recorded, it is not the development agreement, and it is not the PRUD ordinance. What that is referring to is if there's contradictions between the existing concept plan and the development agreement, that the development agreement will control along with the overlay report. So it's just trying to set out the order of authority for what controls. And so
I think the development agreement and the overlay report shouldn't conflict each other. If we're making changes to the development agreement, just make those same changes to the.
if you want to add that as part of the recommendation, we can definitely do that.
As you're saying, the development agreement becomes the Bible of it both, and it supersedes
Yeah,
the
if,
overlay agreement at this point, unless we make the changes.
if there's a problem, and that's only if there's a problem with the concept plan. So if the concept plan has issues, then of the documents, the development agreement controls along with the overlay report.
Which contains concept plans.
So I think some of the amenities were phase specific, but the trails were for everybody in the Cottonwoods, is that right? That's the one thing that's for everybody?
They are proposing a possible pickleball court in Phase 9. That would be something, part of the discussion with them. You could mandate that as opposed to a maybe.
Back on the trails, though, I would think that we'd want to do something to make sure that they get installed proportional.
Yeah.
In proportion to their development.
Yeah.
And not end up back in this same situation.
That's up to you to talk to the applicant about. When they brought that slide forward several months ago, I did mention the May probably should be not a May. But it's up to you. I mean, if you want to include
The
in your
May on what?
recommendation, the pickleball courts in Phase 9, that was the addition. So. Any other questions?
I'm open to a motion.
Do we want to allow him to address this one more time, or do we?
Yeah.
No, if you want to address it, I'm more than happy to do that. You got, what do you got?
Yeah, I don't think we should be held to the PRUD overlay as such. It's a 100-something page document. We're agreeing to dark skies. We're agreeing to the view shed provisions. We're agreeing to the cohesive sign requirements. We've got a concept plan that's subject to geotechnical. It's a layer of complication that was probably put in place to prevent something. And, to tie us to that 107
page agreement with all that detail, I don't think is reasonable. We will address everything that comes apart in the subdivision review. And again, we're amenable to it, but we don't want to be held to it at the same time.
My question to that, to Josh, would be, wouldn't the development agreement either supersede it either way?
Well, those phases are already bound by the overlay agreement, so you can't really opt out. There's a lot of design criteria in the overlay agreement that are required to be followed. So there's no way to actually opt out of the overlay agreement. I think if you want to add in your recommendation, the stipulation that they go through and just make the changes in the overlay agreement as well so that they match, that is a very good idea.
I still don't know what I will be voting on, but that's just me.
Well, do you want to put that in a proposal?
What did I don't know what's going on? No, I'm just saying that's my stance right now.
Be nice to have some clarification on the actual lot numbers and where they're actually going to be. Just feels like we've heard a lot of numbers bouncing around, but nothing consistent.
So I think what you could do is in your recommendation is put a max cap of total number of lots for phase 9 and 6. Additionally, like the concerns about amenities, you could say, hey, with the recommendation that they add some triggers, that the amenities need to be built in, after 25% or 50% or something that's negotiated. So I think any of those concerns you can detail and include in your recommendation.
The motion is to approve an amendment to the Cottonwoods Development Agreement we have not seen. I mean, that makes it difficult, is what I'm saying.
I believe it was included in the packet.
There's a bad name.
So the packet was available nearly a week ago. If we had known that there was a bad link through somebody reading the packet and finding the bad link and letting us know, we could have fixed it. But we were not aware that the link didn't work. So.
Additionally, one of the issues that Josh and I have encountered is in some of these old development agreements, they've been amended several times, and they are long, especially when we add in the overlay. So there's 185 pages once you add in the overlay. And so this amendment amends part of the original development agreement with its other amendments. And so you have to read it all as a whole. One of the things that we've kind of been bouncing around is going to the other developers that are out there and say, hey, let's put together one master development agreement that incorporates all the changes and updates it so it's easier for everyone to track. I think in doing that, we might also be able to address some of the density issues between phases. So that's another suggestion.
So I did provide a comprehensive rewrite of the development agreement, and I said this section applies to phase 6 and 9, and frankly, in the existing one, you're supposed to be able to swim and paddleboard in the Silver Lake, but the developer never followed through on that. There's supposed to be some kind of amenity around there. They didn't do it. So I don't know how we would go back, get them to agree, get phase 8 to agree on a complete rewrite. We can only address phase 6 and 9. And that is uploaded into Civic Review. I did my best.
still open to motions. Who wants to make it?
Do we want to add any stipulation on max lots?
It's probably wise, in my opinion.
Yeah. At the 877 or the 830 or the 901 or where are we at?
Yeah, can I just address the planning commission? That we did our best. You're struggling with the numbers. We also struggled with the numbers, and we went back and forth trying to get counts from the planning count, the county, and doing it ourselves and coming up to the number, and that's how we got to that table for our max lot count. I think we're amenable to the triggers that you talked about, doing the will instead of may on the other park. I don't know if those could be addressed now or with the HOA when each plat goes on, but we can only address what our ownership is, and I can't apologize for previous amenities that weren't built. So, but we are amenable to those items, and like I said, we did the work session and with the council, and they they really didn't have any notes for us. So I guess we'll see when we go back to them.
A member of the public was able to verify that the link actually does work.
Do you have a list of the things that you want to address?
So correct me if I'm wrong before I go into motion on this. That the overlay map will coincide and match that of the development agreement. How should I?
The overlay report.
Overlay report. Okay, make sure.
It's really.
Make sure I put the right words in. That the wording change from may to will on included or presented amenities of pickleball court
For phase 9.
for phase 9, and that the maximum density be that of 877 units through the development. Is that the number we're sticking to?
They're saying less than that, aren't they?
But full development, because
So the overall development, it all depends on phase 8, which they're not owners of.
okay, so we
Or
can
It could be
refer to phase 8 or the full development. We could only refer to those to phase 9.
6 and 9.
6 and 9.
Yeah, but the overall development density was established back in 2005 at 877 with amenities. And those amenities
Those
were
amenities
used
didn't
to
come through.
leverage the additional density. So they're proposing to bring amenities to offset.
So all we could do is with included amenities for phases 6 and 9 be at the.
My recommendation as staff would be that you set it at the 877 that was already allowed.
Okay. Okay. And depending on how we want to word triggers of amenities being in place at the time of home site developments or lot, how do you want to? In proportion to the lots, is that worded enough to?
That's good.
Okay.
And what do we want to do there? 50%? Amenities completed at 50% completion of lot development?
So the proportion to the development of the lots in proportion would be same percentage for percentage. is how I
Okay.
would
So that would.
Okay.
That's what you're.
Yeah, within reason. You have, we're gonna develop 2 lots, then you want to develop 8 feet of trail. So I would just say roughly proportional. And let the council,
I'm gonna say proportional. We'll just, as that plat comes out.
let's say roughly proportional.
All right, I move a motion for positive recommendation with additional changes. changes being that the overlay report matches that of the development agreement, that the amenities be developed in proportion or roughly proportion to the development of lots, that the overall development density be that of the original 877 units. I move we recommend approval to the county commission for the amendment to the Cottonwoods Development Agreement PUD Overlay District to configure certain parcels within development as outlined in the staff report based on the text listed in Exhibit A of the staff report dated January 8, 2026 with the following corrections or those previously stated.
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Member Sessions?
Not that I'm against the proposal, I just don't have it.
I didn't say it right, you're right, sorry. Okay. The motion carries. Okay, let's move on. We're gonna get boring here if y'all wanna leave.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
Sorry. It takes the stress down on me, so I realize.
What, not having people in?
You always get the tough.
I think
you
he's
did a good
willing to
job.
tackle it.
All right, I guess we're gonna finish up. If you guys could carry on conversations outside the door, we'd appreciate it.
Can we get you to step outside in the hall, please?
We're happy to have people here as long as they're quiet.
Staff business and questions. The only thing that I have is we'll be setting up the training, open meeting training with Garrett. And then the Mike Newton and Matt Wilson also wanted to be a part of that training and to go over some of duties and responsibilities, things like that. We're probably going to set that up for the first or second meeting in February, since we're already noticing for the next next meeting. But other than that, we can keep you informed of conferences that are coming up if you would like to do some of your additional training that way. We do have money in our budget to do that. We're also looking probably at bringing back Craig Call at some point. I heard he was really good, and I have a lot of respect for that man. So, other than that, I don't have anything else. If you have questions for me, I am willing to answer those. Oh, you're welcome. It's been a long haul, and I would just like it off my plate, to be honest. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
All right, I would open to approval of the planning commission minutes.
My motion.
And I'll second.
Okay, there we go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.